Ahoy there viewers, and welcome back to Timbo's Oz Navy News. It's Thursday, 20th of February, and we've got a big news week this week. Let's get into the headlines. Australian and New Zealand warships shadow Chinese task group as it nears Sydney. Megami frigate Nashiro to visit Fremantle and Darwin within a fortnight. Final frigate decision could be delayed until early next year. HMAS Hobart joins International Fleet Review in Indonesia. New HMAS Perth 1 Memorial to be officially opened next Saturday. Let's get into it. A Chinese naval task group was sailing just 150 nautical miles off Sydney on Wednesday in an unprecedented demonstration by Beijing of its ability to project power down Australia's east coast. Two Australian warships were trailing the Chinese vessels, which had been operating in Australia's exclusive economic zone for a week. According to a Defence Department spokesperson, the Jiangkai-class frigate Hengyang, the Renhai-class Cruiser Zunyi, and the Fuji-class replenishment vessel Warships have continued sailing down the coast after being spotted on the northeast of Australia last week. The ships have not breached international law, and the Defence Force has said its monitoring of the fleet is routine. It is believed to be the furthest down Australia's east coast that Chinese ships have sailed without being on an official port visit. The last time the Chinese Navy came this close to Sydney was in June 2019, when 3 warships had a 4-day stopover. Addressing the media yesterday afternoon, a spokesperson for China's foreign ministry was unable to answer questions about the 3 ships sailing near the east coast, saying he was not familiar with the situation. New Zealand's military has also joined in monitoring the Chinese task force, with Defence Minister Judith Collins said she had not been informed by the Chinese government why the task group had been deployed into the region and had not been informed what its future plans are. The presence of the ships comes as the commander of the US Indo-Pacific Command, Admiral Samuel Paparo, was in Australia, meeting with the Defence Minister Richard Marles and Foreign Minister Penny Wong. Admiral Paparo also met with Australia's Chief of Joint Operations in Canberra earlier today. Where the ships go from here will be interesting. I'm wondering if they're going to sail through the Bass Strait in a tit-for-tat exchange after Australian warships sail through the Taiwan Strait. Interesting deployment from these Chinese warships, that's for sure. Japan is ramping up its bid to sell $10 billion worth of new warships to Australia, dispatching one of its Megami-class frigates for port visits to Darwin and Fremantle to exercise with Australian warships in about a fortnight. The visit will give Australian Navy commanders a chance to see the ship up close ahead of a final decision on the C-3000 general purpose frigate tender. It's understood a series of special exercises will be held to put the frigate through its paces with several Australian warships. Germany's TKMS fears a frigate contest is shaping up as a Ford versus Ferrari race, pitting its proven MECO A200 design against the newer Megami. TKMS, which built the Anzac-class frigates, is leaning heavily on its experience constructing ships for foreign buyers and points to its success working with Australia's heavily unionised shipbuilding sector. A final decision on which general-purpose frigate will be selected might not be made until early next year. The Deputy Secretary for Naval Shipbuilding and Sustainment, Jim McDowell, told the Foreign Affairs, Defence and Trade Joint Committee on Tuesday.
This frigate is on track. It's a really tight schedule. We're going to buy something in 2 years. It would normally take us 10 years to do. So we will be getting responses, the second lot of responses back from the Japanese and the German shipbuilders and by the end of March. And we intend to go back to government then at the end of this year or early next year. I think it's wanted at the end of this year to give an option for a decision on that general purpose frigate, which is the 11 ships that we're gonna buy the first 3 offshore and build the rest here.
But Defence Industry Minister Pat Conroy was adamant that a decision would be made before the end of the year. We're on the timeline that we announced when we announced this project, which is a decision on that will be made before the end of the year. So I know there has been a little bit of speculation that things are slipping. They haven't slipped one iota. We are on track to make a decision by the end of the year, and it's completely consistent with delivering the first frigate during 2029. HMAS Hobart last week participated in an international fleet review celebrating the 80th anniversary of the Indonesian Navy, and is also taking part in Exercise Komodo 2025, which continues until Saturday. The Green Ghosts joined warships from 15 nations, including Russia and China, for multilateral maritime training. Chief of Navy Vice Admiral Mark Hammond said the broad global support for these events was testament to Indonesia's growing maritime standing. A permanent memorial to commemorate the life and loss of light cruiser HMAS Perth I on 1st March 1942 is set to be officially opened at the Eastern Mantle headquarters of the WA branch of the Navy League of Australia next Saturday, 1st March. A HMAS Perth I Memorial Foundation was formed to establish the permanent tribute to commemorate the life and loss of the modified Leander-class light cruiser. Dedicated to the memory of the ship's company, the memorial honours those who perished in the Battle of Sunda Strait, those who became prisoners of war, and those who returned home. It also acknowledges the families forever impacted by the tragedy in the USS Houston, which was also lost in the battle. The project reflects the resilience, sacrifice, and unity of all those connected to this historic vessel. Inside the memorial there will be a diorama showing the battle scene in the Sunda Strait and a model of HMS Amphion, which was the name of the Royal Navy light cruiser before it was transferred to the RAN and renamed HMAS Perth on 10th of July 1939. Well, that's your Bloomer lot this week. It's been a big news week. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Until next time, that is all.